Rounds Boxing Club, we want to see the best fight the best. With those pillow fists, you definitely can get an endorsement from Tempur-Pedic. The man can stand in rain without getting wet. You couldn't hit him with a handful of rice. Fight fans, this is the 13th round, where we discuss all things boxing, nutter boxing. And on this week's episode, we'll be taking a look back at big-time boxing returning to New Orleans as Regis Prograis fought Danielito Zorilla in New Orleans at the Smoothie King Center. We'll also be looking at the pre-fight presser highlights between Terrence Crawford and Spence, and we'll go back and recap the Tim Tszyu versus Carlos Ocampo fight. This past weekend, we had the wonderful opportunity of fulfilling media obligations for the Regis Prograis and Danielito Zorilla weigh-ins. It was very, very intense. The stare down and the beef seemed to be real. Let's take a look at some of the footage. That was a wonderful opportunity for us here at Rounds Boxing Club, being that was our first time being invited to fulfill media obligations at a professional bout. Now, the opening fight of the night was Jeremy Hill versus Mark Davis. Now, Jeremy Hill is bred New Orleans. Mark Davis is from Baton Rouge. So we have New Orleans versus Baton Rouge, first bout of the night. Here we go. First two rounds, I thought Jeremy Hill looked great. He looked good. Mark Davis, he was shaking off a bit of ring rust. But let's get into the fourth round. And let's just go straight to the footage. I'll tell you what's happening. Right now, you'll see Jeremy Hill hit Mark Davis with a three-piece and a biscuit. Bing, bow, bing, bow, bow. Man, let's see it again. Jeremy Hill knocked out Mark Davis in the fourth round with a beautiful combination. That was a wonderful way to kick off the festivities for the evening. Big shout out to Jeremy Zero Hill for getting the knockout over Mark Davis. Now, what had to be the upset of the evening was the next bout that we'll discuss, which is Ramla Ali versus Alejandra Guzman. Now, Ramla Ali came into this bout a negative 1,800 favorite on the money line, meaning that she was heavily favored to beat Alejandra Guzman. Now, this fight started in the first two rounds with Ramla Ali. I thought she took the rounds, outboxing, but nothing really major landed. But rounds 3 through 5 were totally different as Alejandra Guzman continuously buckled the knees of Ramla Ali and put her down for the first time in her career in round number 5. Now, Ramla Ali went on to beat the count, but the theme remained the same as Guzman continued to pummel her with overhand rights and went on to stop the fight with a vicious left hook. And we have the footage. Major shout out to Alejandra Guzman for giving the fans in New Orleans what they came to see. And we do look forward to seeing Ramla Ali shake back and return to the ring. We all know that big fights and bright lights bring out some of the biggest stars in industries across the world. We had the wonderful opportunity to sit down with former NBA great and current ESPN NBA analyst Kendrick Perkins and ask him his thoughts, opinions, and predictions on the main event between Regis Prograis and Danielito Zorilla. Take a look.
I got Regis is not going past 9 rounds, okay? I got Regis with the stoppage. I'm here because of Regis. Well, I'm actually here because of my fighter, Harold Calderon, but guess what? Regis in 9.
Here at Rounds Boxing Club, we rub elbows with the stars. Big shout out to Kendrick Perkins for giving us his main event predictions. Now, on to the main event itself. One of my favorite parts about boxing are the fighter ring walks. It's very interesting to see what kind of mood the fighter might be in. You kind of get that feel as you see them walk out. And of course, we know that Regis Prograis had to have something special coming out in his homecoming in New Orleans. Let's take a look at the footage. Now, Regis Prograis definitely had the crowd hyped and anticipated for the bell to ring. But I am going to have to just be brutally honest with you. I was expecting a lot of slow singing and flower bringing.
There's gonna be a lot of slow singing and flower bringing if my burglar alarm starts ringing.
But we just turned out to get more slow singing.
Well, Mary, oh Mary, don't you tell them I denied to Martha, don't you, Martha?
Majority of this action happened in the second round, in which Regis Prograis hit Danielito Zorilla with a vicious right hand and put him to the canvas. Let's take a look at the footage. From that moment on in the fight, I believe the crowd was expecting to see a knockout, being that Regis put Zorilla down so early in the contest. But instead of getting a knockout, we got the two playing Miss Mary Mack. As Danielito Zorilla used his horse and refused to engage into the fight and stayed on the outskirts of the ring, keeping Regis at bay with his jab, while Regis landed the harder, more effective punches. Danielito Zorilla seemed to outland Regis throughout the fight, but Regis went on to win a unanimous decision on the scorecards. Big shout out to Regis Prograis and congratulations to him on his homecoming victory against Danielito Zorilla. Those of you who watched last week know that in our fight predictions, we predicted Regis Prograis to defeat Danielito Zorilla via decision. And that brings us to our next segment, which happens to be my favorite segment.
Betting on boxing. On this week's edition, we took the Rougarou, Regis Prograis, and Danielito Zorilla to fight the entire distance and go to the scorecards, placing $85 on this ticket. As predicted, Regis Prograis and Danielito Zorilla fought to the final bell. $85 in total wagers gave us a payout of $620.50, giving us a grand total profit of a whopping $535.50. Cha-ching!
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. With that big of a profit, you can keep the chicken, bring on the steak and the shrimp. Speaking of food, Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford held two pre-fight pressers, one in Los Angeles and one in New York, over the past week, in which Terrence Crawford invited everyone to a fish fry, and we all know that Errol Spence calls himself the Big Fish. And Errol Spence invited everybody to come smoke bud and come to a crawfish boil. We have the highlights from the pre-fight pressers. Let's take a look.
Look at you. Y'all like fish? How many of y'all like fish? I bet your pops like fish too. You like fish, don't you, Pops? Come on, you can say you like fish. You know what I mean? Your son the big fish, so he love fish too, you know? So we gon' you know what I mean? We gon' give his pops a piece of fish.
We Jamaican, man. We smoke bud. You already know how that go. It's legal in Vegas too, so we gonna smoke your ass.
Now, at times during those pre-fight pressers, I must admit the two sound like third graders, but I love it. It makes for an interesting, great fight and lead up to a mega fight in July. Now, last week we also had Tim Tszyu fighting Carlos Ocampo. It took Tim Tszyu every bit of 77 seconds to demolish Carlos Ocampo. Tim Tszyu came out there shooting from the shoulder and throwing hand grenades. Tim landed bomb after bomb after bomb and put Ocampo down easily. It was a crazy night in which, in the aftermath, Tim Tszyu went on to call out the undisputed champion, Jermell Charlo. So hopefully we can get these two to come to terms and agreements and get a fight for the undisputed championship of 154 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, that is our show. Be sure to head on over to our YouTube channel, Rounds Boxing Club, then head on over to MGE Network, hit the notification bell, like, subscribe, protect yourself at all times. We out. Peace.